What's up, Internet? Robert Teegarden back today again with another Teegarden quick tip tutorial. I really like alliteration. Is a very quick video. I stumbled across this only minutes ago and it was such an amazing discovery that I felt like I had to share this with you. So I quickly popped up some lights, put the camera in here. It's not my normal studio setup, but it was something I had to get out to you as quick as I possibly can because I think it's really gonna save you an amazing amount of time. Now, as young professional video creators, we're always looking for a way to show our professionalism. And one of the ways that I do that all the time is by keeping my data as organized and managed as possible. A way that that happens is that I have subfolders for each individual product that I have, each shoot that I go on. And once that shoot is completed, I dump all my media into various folders. I've got a project folder for audio. I've got one for my footage. I've got one for stills. Got one for project files for my Adobe Premiere Pro. I've got a motion graphics file for all of the stuff I do in After Effects. I've got a renders file for any renders that I make. So that way I know exactly where I need to find stuff. I also go through and change the file names to reflect the date and the shoot that I was on and the sequential order of each individual file itself. So whichever shot that I took, I name them in sequence, 1 through however many, 1 through 20, 25, 50,000, however many shots I did that day. The reason for this is that it helps me find things easier. If any media ever gets unlinked within my projects, it's easier to go back and find that exact footage rather than the C0015 10,000 times because I shoot on Sony and I'm always shooting at least 15 different files. It gets harder to manage. So I do my best in saving myself some time in the future. They say that a stitch in time saves 9, I guess is the saying or whatever. So I'm trying to make sure that my data is always organized. Part of that means that I have to go through the process of creating different subfolders for every folder I create, like all the 6 that I just mentioned. That doesn't seem like it's something that takes a lot of time, because it doesn't. But when you're doing things so often, the repetitive task of constantly creating the same folder directories drives me nuts. If you paid attention to anything on this channel, you'll know that I'm a person that's constantly looking for efficiency hacks and ways to shave off milliseconds in aggregate that in total save me time down the line. Down the line, that's what I meant to say. Now, the thing that I was trying to figure out is there a way for me to automatically create a folder directory within a larger folder that I can easily just dump my footage and stuff into that's already created? And it turns out there is, and as I was Googling around, this is what I found. Let's take a look. I pulled up the Google, I said, hey Google, how do you automatically create subfolders in Windows 10? And I came up with this fantastic article. This article right here, which I'll link down in the description below, gives you some type of code that you copy and paste into Notepad. You create this little file. Every time you create that first primary folder, you just drop this new executable file inside the folder, and it automatically creates the folders that you want, the subfolders. It's unbelievable. This is my most exciting time of the year, and it's only been 23 days. Okay, so let's look at this. This guy says, while we can't be done automatically, it can easily be scripted. Copy the following into Notepad. We gotta go into Notepad. There's the app. I'm opening up Notepad. We'll go back over here. I'm gonna copy paste this into this way. So now what this is telling me is that it's gonna create a subfolder for email, for proposal, for report, field data, etc. The thing that I wanna be aware of is that there's certain files that I have, file folders that I have that have a space in between them. So I have to code in just that certain little piece of information. So what I always have is a file for audio. I always have a file for footage. If I could type, I always have a file for my motion. And now here's that space that I was talking about. The way that I solved this problem for this particular way of doing things is that I put a quote, space, quote, motion graphics folder. That's how I did it. And I have the other one here. Number 4 is project. And the same thing here. So space, quote, files. Then I'm gonna go down. This one's 5, my renders. This one's 6, my stills. Okay, and so next thing we have to do is I'm gonna save this as, right? Make sure I saved it as this particular way of looking at things. You can kind of name it whatever you want to. Create projects folders.cmd. I'm gonna save this to my desktop. We'll click save right there. And we should be good to go. So now what I'm gonna have is on top of my desktop, we're gonna see that I've got this little executable file right here. And so when I open up a new window, let's go ahead and open up a new file explorer window. I'm gonna navigate back to my hard drive. I'm gonna go into the folder that I wanna create. And let's say instead of doing this, let's just delete all these guys. I don't need them. So now as it deleted, I'm gonna take my create project folders, and this is when things get incredibly easy. You saw I just put that in there. Now watch what happens. I'm gonna double click this executable file, it runs the thing, and boom, it creates all my subfolders the way in which I like to have them there. Now I realize that it flip-flop project and motion graphics, that point doesn't make a difference. What matters is that it's quickly creating these particular files and folders for your file management. So boom, there you go, saving you a ton of time. Now this workflow is for Windows. There's a way to do this on the Mac, but right now most of my ecosystem is sitting in a Windows machine. I built this machine a couple months ago. You can see it somewhere on the channel. Maybe I'll link it up here as well. If you guys are curious on how to do this for a Mac, leave a comment down below and I can go through a way of creating a script in Automator that does effectively the same thing. You just double click a button and boom, it pops up and creates a whole bunch of file folder directories that does the same type of thing. So at this point, we're all real familiar with, you know, the YouTube sensational way of liking, sharing, subscribing, all that stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with that. If you dig it, you dig it. If not, keep it pushing. Maybe we'll see you again in the future if I don't see you in the pasture. Once again, I'm Robert Teegarden. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.